blowout in the playoffs.
What's up, guys, and welcome everyone to the Puck and Leafs podcast. I'm your host, Joe Choss, with the boys, Coach Frank and Bobby Bottles. And it's a celebration Saturday as the Maple Leafs pull out a 4-3 overtime win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. In a game, quite frankly, guys, the Leafs weren't exactly at their best. I thought Tampa was actually really good. And the Leafs come out with a last-minute tying goal, end up winning in overtime. This is one of those games where in the past, the Maple Leafs do not win this game. And it's happened too many times. And I'm glad the script actually flipped in overtime, where the last couple overtimes the Leafs have dominated and end up losing. And in this overtime, it was Tampa that kind of dominated, and then the Leafs get coming up with the OT goal. So it's a great feeling. Let's savor it. I want to first talk, guys, about Ilya Samsonov, because at the end of that first, I didn't think he was great in the first. And I actually tweeted out, like, it would be nice if our goalie, we didn't have to score 5 goals for our goalie to win a game and our goalie to steal a game. I thought he was excellent in periods 2, 3, and overtime. I thought he stole that game. And with some fortunate officiating calls. Like, I think that point goal should have been a goal, but the ref lost track of the puck, blows the whistle, and that's the way she goes sometimes. So what did you think of Samsonov? Were you concerned after the first, and how do you think he bounced back? And Frankie, I'll start with you. What do you think this does for his confidence, knowing that, okay, I can give up a bad goal, but I can rebound and play much better and keep my team in it?
I think this is incredible for his confidence, because now he knows. Listen, up until last game, he's only won 1 playoff game. So now he's won a second game in game 2, and now he's won a third playing, after a pretty subpar first period. I think all he has to do is play, average at best next game. If and he knows that he can probably get them another win. Like that's pretty big, I thought where he was really good tonight was more or less his rebound control. I think he handled some shots. I think the so-called disallowed goal, that would have been the 4-2 goal, he bobbled some shots, but I think his rebound control overall was really good. He did tend to lose his net here and there, but I think that's kind of, sometimes that's just a sign of jitters. But he rebounded well. I have to be honest with you, I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming. I love to sit here and say, oh yeah, he fed off last game. He battled. I think maybe that's probably the best way I can put it. He battled tonight. And I think where he was excellent tonight was he kept it 3-2 coming out of the second period. I think keeping it 3-2 gave him a chance in the third, because I tweeted out that second period, the Leafs should have been down 5-2.
Yeah.
And that could have been lights out. So credit to him. Credit to the defense. I thought Jake McCabe was really good tonight. I thought Luke Schenn was excellent tonight.
Love Luke Schenn.
He was really good tonight. Brody wasn't his best, even though playing 32 minutes. And Giordano was silently good tonight too. Like they were good around him. Like they boxed out pretty good in front of the net. So blocked a lot of shots. I don't think I've ever seen a Leafs decor block that many shots. So that always helps out your goaltending as well.
Let's talk about the 3-2, the tying goal, the 3-3 goal.
Yep.
Nylander basically just tosses it to the net. O'Reilly standing in the right spot, right in front of the net, and puts it home. How many times have we seen this team in a 6-on-5 situation just pass the puck around the perimeter, keep it to the outside? They finally do what works in playoff hockey. Just get the puck to the net, get into the dirty area, and you're rewarded for it. Bob, you talk about it all the time. Like, this team does it. It's just, they're a perimeter team. Like, they got to score those greasy goals. That was a greasy goal that they needed desperately. And then in overtime, there were a couple plays at the beginning of overtime. They had a chance, and they just didn't take shots. You got to get the puck to the net. Hall almost puts it home, and then right after that, they win the faceoff and score the OT goal. Faceoff plays, huge, winning those draws. Bobby, how important is it to have a guy like Ryan O'Reilly, who can win an important faceoff like he did, and you're able to come up with an OT win because of it?
It's huge. And it was great to see him win. The 3-2 goal by Tampa was actually a lost draw, I believe, by Tavares, off of a kicked off centerman. And once the center got kicked off, I'm like, okay. And then they end up scoring right off of that. So obviously, I talked to you guys about how depth down the middle is so important. Starting the shift with the puck is so important. And yeah, I forgot the first part of the.
Well, I was talking about the greasy goals that this team needs to learn more. Like, finally,
fantastic. And like, we've been watching the game long enough that it's like, just throw the puck to the net. It's usually those shitty, crappy shots that end up going in. From the other side, the Tampa side, I hate going into a 5-man passive 6-on-5. And by passive, I mean you're not attacking the puck. You're just sitting there. I don't like doing that. I thought Tampa, when they went into that little shell, I was like, this might not end well, and it obviously didn't. They throw the puck to the net, but you've got to kind of pressure the puck, even if you might have a couple, maybe it might pull a guy out of position. But I thought Tampa did just as much to help the Leafs by giving them that time and space. And they're a team that if you give them time and space, they're going to have success. Like, that is the MO of this team. Take away their time and space, they're going to have some trouble. But if you give a good team like that time and space, they're going to find the right play eventually. And Nylander put the puck to the net and back of the net.
We talked on this, for the people that listen to us. I think there was a couple things we've always said, and Joel and I agree that in past, how many times have you seen a guy like Alex Kerfoot, Zach Hyman, David Camp to some extent, take very important draws, be it on the penalty kill or an offensive zone faceoff. You lose the faceoff, and off you go. Ryan O'Reilly, if there's one intangible that he brings to this team more than anything, is a key faceoff win. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but that 6-on-5, in the 6-on-5, you know who wasn't on the ice? John Tavares. You know who was on the ice?
Really? Are you sure?
Do you know who was on the ice? Matthew Nyes. And who was playing net front? It was Ryan O'Reilly. So
ROR.
ROR, right? So, sometimes you got to go with what's working and what's clicking. And O'Reilly's the guy right now in the face-off. So little things make a difference.
He does everything. He goes to the net. Like, he's
always in position to.
You could argue he's been their most complete player.
100%
through this first 3 games,
because he's been there. That's the reason why they got him. He's been there, and get on his back, enjoy the ride.
And we went through our keys, and one of my things was I said he's going to have to do a lot, and he has. And the goaltending, I said Samsonov, not going to have a great save percentage, but he came up with timely saves, is exactly what I said this team needs. And he made timely saves in the third, in overtime. Kucherov was all over the ice in overtime. I mean,
God! Every time he had the puck, scared the crap out of me.
I don't think there is a more deceptive player in the league.
Oh my goodness,
he is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I
can't stand him. He's such a dirty scum.
I know, but you have to have an appreciation for his skill set. Just incredible.
Frankie, you mentioned Matthew Nyes. I thought he had another really strong game.
Yep.
He's just strong on the puck, strong down low. He wins those board battles. He's a playoff performer. Like, he plays that playoff hockey style that this team has lacked. And he's added that heaviness to that third line that this team has lacked for the last number of playoff runs. I can't see him coming out of the lineup if he plays like this.
No. In every game, he has had a point-blank chance, like a golden opportunity to score. And 2 of them, he's done it himself, whether it be an individual rush, a one-on-one or a split in 2D, and just a big body with, outstanding puck pursuit. And I think if he gets one, I think his confidence is going to go even higher. Tonight they used them where they needed him. They found, you saw Nyes on. He started with O'Reilly and Achari, and he set up the first goal, so they score there. I saw him play with Tavares and Nylander with a little bit as well when he got moved up, and I also saw him in the third period with Matthews and Marner. This is a guy who has played 5 NHL games so far.
Yes,
5 NHL games, and Sheldon Keefe is moving him up the lineup like he would have done Kerfoot last year.
He trusts him.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, Joe, I think if they're, if Bunting comes back, the way it looks right now, man, I'd almost venture to say maybe Lafferty over Aston Reese comes out. That would be my guess.
In this type of series, yeah.
Yeah,
And I would put Bunting on that fourth line. Like I
Oh,
would not mess with any of
absolutely.
the other three lines.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Joe? I was about to say if the Leafs would have lost this game, they won't tinker with it now because they won. But like, at what point do you think of bringing Simmons in this lineup? Very sheltered minutes, but just like I don't know, man. There was a point there where Tampa started to hit everything in sight, and the Leafs started backtracking, and you can only hang on for so long. But like, I don't know, man. Just something about having Simmons on that team or on that bench. Just it might be worth the 5 minutes he plays. You can really essentially, Joe. You can run an 11-6. Right, like I mean, like
just
Simmons,
the speed of the game worries me with Simmons.
I understand.
But you're right; he's a deterrent out there. Nobody wants that smoke from Simmons. Not even Fat Maroon over there. So
I completely agree, Frank. And that's the one thing I was going to ask you guys is like, I get it. He's not the greatest player, but it seems like Tampa was very physical. And after the point injury, they really took some liberties, I thought. And when Simmons is there, he doesn't allow that. Jeanette was running around acting like a bit of a goof. Perry's obviously going to be Perry. He's not going to change. So it'd be a really tough call, especially after a win, to put him into the lineup. I just want to touch on Matthew Nyes. He had two kind of sketchy turnovers in the first, and then the second, they're blaming that goal on him. But someone on the panel brought up a good point, and one of the issues is that he's only been with the team for a couple weeks. The defensive structure or defensive system that he played in college may be different than what he's playing right now with the Leafs, which is the one issue with playing him. But they didn't stop playing him, and in fact, in the last 5 minutes, it looked like they went to a two-line game to piggyback on Frank's point, and he was in that top six forwards, and it looked like they were just going one line, two line, and he was playing with Matthews and Marner, and that's just
let's credit Sheldon Keefe for recognizing that. Like, I didn't think the Leafs forecheck was very good this game. Tampa was able to break the puck out of the zone really easily, but Matthew Nyes is the type of guy who can establish that forecheck. So to have him as part of those six guys that are going in the last 5 minutes, I'll credit Keefe there.
And I think it would have been really easy to go, okay, he's a rookie. They just scored off. His guy scored off of a kind of a chintzy little play. You know what? We're gonna backtrack his minutes, and I watched for that, and it was like he got more minutes in the third. I thought he played more in the third than he did in the first two. It would have been very easy for Sheldon. It's very easy to criticize. I think sometimes you have to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah, I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but it seems like in games 1 and 3, when Hedman is played, I don't know if it's just because of Hedman, but might be some coincidence to it. But the Leafs just haven't been able to establish that forecheck consistently. Is there something they're doing or something they need to do more of to get that forecheck really working like it was in game 2? In game 2, they were able to consistently go shift after shift after shift in the Tampa zone. It hasn't happened in game 1 and 3.
Not just Hedman, but Sergachev, both those guys, excellent breakout passes. There was, I think they hit, was it Jeannot on the breakaway there? And I can't remember if it was third period overtime. Like that can't happen late in the game or in an overtime period, right? You know what, Joe? A forecheck really comes down to finishing your hits. A lot of times, the Leafs will go into the zone and peel off the man. If you're not establishing yourself on the forecheck and you're not giving hits, Tampa's going to have a lot more confidence knowing they're not going to get hit, be able to make the play, not being scared. Bang, up the ice. I thought one thing the Leafs struggled with a lot tonight. I don't know if you guys if you guys noticed, even right into the third, the defense and the forwards were not on the same page. They could not break out of their zone. Like Tampa owned the neutral zone, and because of that, they weren't establishing any type of forecheck. They weren't establishing any possession in the zone. And credit to Tampa, like they know how to play in games like this, right? So yeah, Joel,
they do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, they didn't establish a forecheck like they did in game 2. They weren't finishing their hits. And keep an eye on this too. I don't know if you guys have noticed, again, a little thing. A lot of teams tend to do this against the Leafs. When a team is in trouble in their own zone, they like to flick the puck to the neutral zone, almost like a 50-50 play. Maybe they get a 2-on-1 out of it or a 3-on-2, but it's a play that the Leafs defense have issues with. I see Tampa doing it a lot, and I'm hoping it doesn't come back to bite him in the ass because it's happening more and more as this series goes on.
Tampa has basically sent two messages to say we don't respect the Leafs D. One is that flip play, Frank, which I wanted to bring up. And the second one is they're going a 1-2-2 and they're taking away the walls. They're making the Leafs break out through the middle of the ice. And they're almost telling them this is what you would do to like a bad, almost like a lower level team. Take away the walls and make you use the middle of the ice because it's almost like we don't trust you to make that pass to the center. You might mess that up and we might be able to get a turnover off. I don't remember seeing a team take away the walls like this. Like this is stuff you don't see at this level. And it's just Tampa basically saying we don't respect the Leafs D is what I'm reading as.
And I tell you another thing.
Go ahead, Frankie. Sorry.
Yeah, if Cernak comes back, it's going to be that much tougher because he's a minute killer. He's just as effective as Hedman in the defensive zone. So they got to get next game. Me personally, they got to get next game because I fully expect Cernak to be probably back in Game 4, but definitely Game 5.
Frankie, he got a bad concussion on Tuesday. Game 4 won't even be a week later. Like, I don't think he's back until at least later in the series.
Do you trust Tampa and what John Cooper's been saying?
Not at all. Nope,
exactly.
Not one bit.
That's why it would not surprise me.
That flip play that you were mentioning, they tried it at least 6-7 times in that third period in overtime. They're testing the Leafs' foot speed back there. They know they're not a fleet of foot on the defense, and they're testing it. So
it's also a tough play for good defensemen. Yes. I mean, it's a bouncing puck. It's settle it down, then you've got to make a play, right? They're like, we'll just go at you with speed, right? It's a very effective play. It's a play that not a lot of teams like. They don't utilize it as much. This was a big Don Cherry thing. But Tampa's really saying like we're not even gonna try to break out. And I think Tampa, their forwards, like you take away that first line, their top line. I don't think this is like a great team behind them. I mean, I'm looking at some of these guys up and down, and it's like maybe they're just saying let's just keep it as simple as possible. That's the weakness of this Leafs team. Let's go and try and attack it.
They know how to be greasy. They know how to play playoff hockey, and they're like little weasels, man. Like. This team embellishes more than any team in the league. That the penalty that Sam Lafferty took.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He didn't even come close to Colton's face, and Colton sells it like he won an Oscar. This guy. If that was Michael Bunting who did that, the Leafs would not get a call for 3 weeks after that.
Exactly.
And and Colton initiated contact. I don't know if you guys noticed it. Like
exactly.
After the whistle, he like went and body. Like I thought they got away with a lot, and that's. Goes to the point of like maybe you bring Simmons in just to sit on the bench. You have that little nuclear weapon there, and they brought it up on the broadcast. I don't know if Frank, you were watching the Sportsnet stuff, but Shen was right in the middle when the point injury happened, and they were chirping on the bench, and he was standing there like a bodyguard. Like if you want to talk to these guys, you talk through me, and it was just
talking about Tampa and how they're greasy. So Matthews gets into his first fight with Stamkos today. Matthews is holding the sticks, not even into it. And Stamkos comes and drags him into it, and they both get 5 for fighting. So Sheldon Keefe commented after the game that that's how Tampa manipulates the officiating. They know how to work it.
Yep.
It makes me sick.
That should have been a 5-on-3.
Absolutely.
That didn't make so Stamkos crossed the guy, Kucherov jumped the guy, and then Stamkos. How was that not an instigator? The guy didn't want to fight. But I will say this: that was the best stretch Matthews played when he came back on the ice. For those last 6 or 7 minutes, he was fantastic, and he was unstoppable for that stretch there when they tied the game.
If there's a large quote out that Keith put on his presser today, I won't go through it, but essentially using the term manipulating the referees. Tampa likes to manipulate the refs. If anything to get out of this, Sheldon Keefe just put it out there. So it's something maybe to keep an eye on, as this goes forward. But no doubt, like Joe and I were talking about before, that's brilliant from Stamkos. Brilliant. There's nothing to lose there. He knows they got the original. They're not going to call another one on Stamkos. So why not take their best player away from the power play? And he ended up taking O'Reilly as well. So it's like, and the Leafs had nothing on that power play.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That should have been a momentum type power play where they could get one back, and that was awful. So, hey, listen, man, Tampa knows how to play the game. That's all about experience. And if I was, in their shoes, do what you can do, to get those breaks on your end for sure.
All right, so Game 4 in a couple days in Tampa. Tampa, we're gonna see what they do here. They were the better team in Game 3, and they lose the game. The Leafs pull off a win that they probably shouldn't have won. How do both teams react to that going into Game 4? I feel like this is one of those games where the Leafs are like, we got the win in our back pocket. We'll just take it easy for Game 4. But hopefully this team has learned their lesson. You got your foot on their throat a little bit. Just press it on there now.
And you know what really, if they would have lost this game, you know what really would have upset me? But they started well. Like, they started really well.
Yes.
And that's 2 games in a row where they started well. I think, listen, they're not stupid. Riley and O'Reilly were at the podium tonight, both heavily said, listen, we were not great tonight, especially the second period. They recognize it. They know they can't be that bad again. So you fully expect them to have a better 3 periods next game. This is for their taking, man. Like, I'm not going to say Tampa is a fragile team, but this has got to take a hit to the confidence here, thinking, because hey, listen, 20 shots on goal and 4 goals. We've seen this before. They didn't get enough pressure to the net tonight. They didn't play. They played on the perimeter. They have to get pucks to the net. They want to be successful in Game 4. They got to get greasy. They got to get one off a leg. They got to get one off a foot. The way they play tonight, that's not going to happen. If the refs are going to start clamping down and not making as many penalties as they did in Game 1 and 2 like they did tonight, they have to find other ways to score. It's heading to the net. Tampa kept them on the perimeter, and it almost cost them. So if they want to be successful in Game 4, they got to get greasy. That's it.
It's amazing how tilted the ice felt in Game 2 without Hedman. They're not going to have those stretches. Like, the Leafs had like a 4-minute stretch in Game 2 where Tampa didn't touch the puck in the defensive zone. That's not going to happen anymore. Now it's like you're going to have to fight in battle and just get those ugly ones.
We know that Hedman is hurting. I don't understand why every time they don't dump it in his corner, and even if he gets rid of the puck, you finish your check and you make him feel it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Frankie, when you finish your checks, the defensemen start hearing those footsteps, and that's when they start coughing up the puck and making mistakes. Yep. If they feel comfortable back there, they're going to get their head up, make an easy outlet pass, and you're out of the zone. So I agree 100% with you there. And make Hedman feel it, man.
He is
Don't let him feel sick.
He's still hurt. You know he's still hurt.
Oh, absolutely.
So
he is 6'6". Oh, he's a big boy.
He's so good. That block shot on Nylander near the end of the second.
Fantastic. Yeah. Third period, I think, was it? Was it second period?
Second.
Got to get that off quicker.
Definitely. All right, boys. I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. Might go listen to John Cooper's crybaby press conference after this, though. So we'll break that down for later.
He is a suck, that guy, eh? Like, they just complain about everything.
He's a cocky bastard. But you win 2 cups, you can be like him too. So
sure. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and drop a comment below. We want to know what you think, how Game 3 went, and what are you looking forward to for Game 4 as the Leafs try to get an even bigger stranglehold on the series. Have a great night, everyone. Let's go Leafs.